Have you ever been in an argument where all of a sudden you feel like you're defending a point you never even made? It's super frustrating, right? And it kills the conversation. Well, today, we're going to break down exactly why that happens. And then we're going to talk about a really powerful way to have better, more productive arguments.
You know, it so often starts with that one little phrase. So you're saying, one person makes a point and then boom, it gets twisted and reframed into something way more extreme, something that's basically impossible to defend.
And you see the pattern here. This isn't just someone misunderstanding you. No, this is a conversation killer. It just slams the door on any chance of having a real exchange of ideas. Now, believe it or not, all three of these totally wild accusations, they came from a single now famous interview. And they perfectly capture how that simple phrase, "so you're saying," can be used to just completely derail a whole discussion. So, what is actually happening in these moments? This is not a simple misunderstanding. It's a very specific rhetorical tactic, and it's designed to put someone on the defensive. And yeah, it has a name. The perfect example of this comes from that viral 2018 interview between journalist Kathy Newman and psychologist Jordan Peterson. It kind of blew up online for these exact moments of communication breakdown, and it gives us a perfect example of this tactic out in the wild. And that tactic we're talking about, it's called the strawman fallacy. Honestly, just being able to put a name to it is the first and maybe the most important step toward avoiding it in your own arguments and spotting it when it's being used against you. So here's the deal. Instead of actually grappling with the real, maybe complex argument that someone is making, you build a flimsy, easy-to-knock-down imitation, a straw man, and then you attack that instead. It's basically a shortcut to a victory that doesn't really mean anything.
The whole thing is a pretty simple three-step move. First, someone makes a claim. Second, that claim gets twisted and distorted. And third, the distortion is what gets attacked, not the original point. The real argument, it never even gets touched.
And this specific version of it, the one that uses "so you're saying" over and over again, well, that's sometimes called the Newman Effect. It's this relentless way of keeping your opponent on their back foot, constantly forcing them to defend things they never even said. So why is this so common, and why does it work so well? You know, it's not always someone trying to be deceptive on purpose. The answer is actually in this little glitch in how all of our brains are wired. See, our brains are hardwired with something called confirmation bias. You can think of it like this powerful engine that's always running in the background. But its job isn't to find the objective truth. Its job is to prove that what we already believe is right. And this bias is what makes us so vulnerable to creating strawmen, because we instinctively twist opposing views to fit what we already think. And this engine has two totally different standards for evidence. Any information that confirms what we already believe, it gets a fast pass. We just accept it, no questions asked. But any information that challenges our beliefs, oh, that gets put on trial. We scrutinize it, we dismiss it, we look for any tiny flaw we can find. But this engine in our brain, it doesn't just run on logic. It gets supercharged by some really powerful stuff. Our emotions, and one of the deepest needs we have as human beings, the need to belong. The moment a discussion touches on something tied to our core identity, or our morals, or a sense of safety, our logical brain just kind of takes a backseat. We go into this defensive mode where it becomes way harder to think clearly and a whole lot easier to misrepresent what the other person is saying. And it all comes back to that incredibly powerful need for social belonging. In these moments, arguing is less about finding the truth, and it's much more about signaling loyalty to our tribe by attacking the ideas of an outgroup. Okay, so we've spent a lot of time on how conversations break down. Now let's talk about how to build them back up. There's this powerful alternative to the straw man, a tool that's not designed for winning, but for actually getting closer to the truth. And it's called Steelmanning. It's the exact opposite of the straw man. So instead of building a weak caricature just to knock it down, you build the strongest, most charitable, most resilient version of their argument, a Steelman, so that you can genuinely engage with it. And these two approaches, they lead to completely different places. Strawmanning is a conversational dead end. All it does is create division and block any real progress. But Steelmanning, that's about building a bridge. It forces you to engage with the absolute best version of an idea you disagree with, which is the only way to get to real understanding and move closer to the truth.
So the next time you find yourself in a disagreement, this is really the choice you have to make. What's your goal here? Is it just to win, or is it to understand? Because that choice is what will determine whether you end up attacking a straw man or building a Steelman.